Glad to see we have several guests tonight and kind of a full agenda, so we hope to get through that as quick as we can. So if you guys, if we would call the meeting to order, and Danielle, if you would do that, please.
Yes. 5:30. Ron Weiss,
Yes.
Dave Purdue,
Yes.
Lou Andrew. Yes. Renee Jones. Yes. Tony Boston.
Yes. If y'all still staying and join us, I'm glad you're doing it. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we got some interesting things, some really cool things going on we'll be talking about tonight. But first of all, we need to approve our minutes, and what we're going to do, we're going to ask for a motion for the regular and special session minutes, and then we'll come back and ask for a motion for the closed session. So the regular session is April 9th, and the special session is April 16th.
I'll make that motion. Good, I second minutes from both of those.
Both of them, I will second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Now we'll move to the closed session minutes. We have two of those as well, one April 9th and April 16th as well. So we just need a motion to approve those minutes.
Well, I have, on the April 9th one, on that. At the bottom, it includes some information for the open session. And that information in regard to open session is actually in the open session minutes. So I think we could remove that. That lower part of that. The information on the closed session on April 9th, you know, see where it shows that.
It's nice to have him.
Well, I mean, if you want to keep it, you can do it there.
We can do this. Someone can make a motion to approve amended closed meeting, minutes with those taken out.
And I would like to make that motion
Okay.
to approve the April 9th closed session with the removal of the information that's mentioned from open session down to the bottom.
Okay, and what about the closed session? For instance?
And I approve the April 16th closed session. I'm okay with that.
And a motion for a change on the 9th and then a motion for the 16th. You have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made, all in favor? Aye. Motion passed, thank you very much. Reports. Okay, I'm gonna move some stuff down here. Danielle's been working on some technology changes that we'll be going through here shortly. So hats off to her, she's been very busy with that, and we should have some news to come out of that here within the next week or so. But again, Danielle, next year working through that. Basically, she's done a good job in securing all of our access, all of our credentials for all of our systems we have, so that we have control over that. And not just relying on our IT support. So that's pulled back into our area. So talk some more about that. That's all I have. Any questions? If not, we'll go with that.
Okay, I'll start off with, I have no reports for the fire department or street lights. So I'll jump into the building inspection department report. So our permit revenue for April of 2024 was $5,815. In 2025, it's $4,145, so that's a negative $1,670. Permit revenue year to date in 2024 was $22,695. This year it's $39,840. So that's a plus of $17,145. Building permits process. We're 2 up from what we were at this same month last year. Number of permits year to date in 2024, we were at 42, this year we're at 39. Last year, we had one new home. Permit, we have 0 this year. New homes year to date, we had 4 last year, we have 4 this year. So we're up on our budget for that so far, for April, for the year.
I've been very busy with a lot of that.
It's been very busy with lots of stuff.
Yes.
Off to our Camden County Security. Abe, would you please give us a report on what you have?
Yes. So April started off a little bit slower than normal, but it picked up towards the end. Our stats, they're pretty average for the most part. We are down in a few of the categories. Most of that was still simply because we were short of people. 2 of our new hires did graduate the FTO program, so they both came out here on the 16th. So we had them for about half the month. Starting at the end of this week, when schools are out, we're gonna pick up 2 of the school resource officers. They're gonna come out here and help out on day shifts too. And then we've got another new guy that should be done with this training about roughly the beginning of June sometime, so we'll have another one there. We responded to 197 calls. We had 10 domestics, 5 emotionally disturbed persons calls, 4 motor vehicle accidents, and 3 assaults. We did respond to one of the local resorts that were having a conference. One of the subjects there was intoxicated and causing issues through basically the incident. They had a fight a little bit and they ended up getting charged with resisting arrest. We made 90 traffic stops. We had 3 DWI arrests, and 2 of the stops we ended up finding meth in the vehicles. We also had 19 tickets to the state courts. Other than that, that's pretty well it. It feels like it since it's starting off.
Did you also at the road districts meeting and it was mentioned, I think, I don't know, if it's James Jones mentioned it or Sheriff Bell. Edgar, about having some 3 units down there at the end of Bittersweet. Did I understand that right? For
Correct.
contractors?
Yep, we've got a contract with, they call it 7 Mile Cove. It's between Shady's and Canton on the Lake. They have the option to opt in for security to pay off the guys to go down there. They show up in uniform and in our cars and everything.
Okay.
I think he may have been a little bit off. It's only 2 guys.
Oh, okay.
Originally at one point where they were talking about 3, but I think that got demolished. It's 2 people, but they're down there. Holiday weekends are down there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then every other weekend it's Friday and Saturday.
Well, that's nice to have an extra coverage down there.
Yeah, it helps.
Busy and.
It helps our call cars out quite a bit, so they're not going down there all the time.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. That's all I have. Thank you, Camden County Sheriff's Department.
Sure, absolutely. Dave and I had a conversation today on us up here about the numbers. It sounds like you're gonna get quite a few out here before it's all said.
Yeah, I mean, it's taking time, right?
And you got, looks like you're gonna have to tell me what, like, out here or something like that.
When it's all said and done, yeah, it's gonna be 10. We'll have 8 guys working the road, and then Bryce and I will still be floating supervisors. So hopefully we can just get some people hired and some people trained.
Now, did Edgar say that you guys were getting quite a few applicants?
We are getting some,
More than the past, I guess, more than in the
it's
past.
probably about the same. It's just, I don't know. We have quite the background process, and so a lot of the guys are trying to bail from other agencies that they weren't necessarily doing well at to begin with. We're kind of beating those guys out, so, I mean, we've got it going. I mean, it's just a working process.
Yeah, I was glad to hear Edgar was saying that the applicants, they're looking for quality and quantity, so that was very positive. We're very happy to hear Edgar's report, the road district. It was very positive. He's doing, sounds like he's moving forward and getting some things done that need to get done.
Yep,
So, for sure, the folks that aren't too familiar with this, but we actually have a substation right underneath this building. The sheriffs are here And they're obviously in a great relationship. The new sheriff, Chris Edgar, I have a cell phone number, and his cell phone number. Yeah, we can call anytime, but we're very fortunate to have a pretty safe place out here. And they can be anywhere around here, like in 3 to 5 minutes, so they are stationed here, and we really appreciate all that you guys do. Thanks, Dad.
No, thank you.
Any questions? for them? Ron?
Renita and I met with Nelson's and we got decided, what's gonna all go in the gardens this year. And that's all supposed to be done by Memorial Day weekend, so. I know they've turned the irrigation on, but I don't think they've planted anything yet, so. Anyway, that's all I got on that.
Okay.
Did you figure out the water situation at Trillium? I saw that.
Yes.
What happened there? Turn it on.
I don't know, the timer was set to stay on all the time. The reason that alarm doesn't go off, it's gotta run like that for 24 hours before you get a notice from the fire department on that alarm thing,
Right.
They've got those set at like a half gallon, but it's gotta be continuous for 24 hours. And it didn't run that long,
Okay.
it just ran, for a day or whatever, but I shut it off, so it won't happen again until they fix the timer, but,
Yeah, I was trying to.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Any other questions for Ron?
I'm sorry. Ron, it was that Nelson's going to plant and they're gonna fertilize the annuals, correct, for when they planted, is that every month they're gonna fertilize them or every other?
No, I think it was a one-time thing.
Okay, so they're not gonna do it every other month.
Well, no, I don't know if that's next.
Well, we had talked about. that.
Yeah,
I just didn't know what it came to it. But are they gonna be weeding once a month?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that's what's on their proposal.
Well, yeah. Even though on RFP, it did say something that the maintenance is supposed to include. Also include weeding and fertilizing and stuff, so it wasn't itemized on their invoice, so.
Well,
That could get
it
cost-
is, it's not itemized for each garden, but it is listed on there. I have a copy of it here somewhere.
About the fertilizing or the weeding. I was just wondering,
Roundup spray application monthly, spray all gardens at April through October, bed maintenance, all gardens, April through October. Fall bed maintenance and clean up leaves and annuals. That's all, I mean, that's listed.
Anything else? Not doing.
Okay, first sheet that we should look at is the ARPA. I mean, basically, it's the same thing we've been looking at all year. We haven't spent any money yet on handrails or Trillium Park. How that's, I think Williams kind of taking precedence over doing these others right now, so. But we got to the end of the year to spend that money, so we're right on target for that. Now look at the budget versus actual. Okay. As Dave mentioned, building permits are up as far as our income is concerned, interest is up, license income is up, motor vehicle categories are up. But primary sales tax revenue is at a loss again. So it's showing us our revenue is down $11,950 and 24 cents compared to what we budgeted. Okay. I'm going to kind of warn you ahead of time, I've already pulled the amounts for April that get deposited in May. And on our general fund, it's down almost 4,000, and on the capital fund, it's down 2,000. So that 11,000 next month is going to look more like $15,000 to $16,000 low. For just the 42,000, which is what we've got so far this year in sales tax. Is going to make our number for net for profit go down, okay?
Sorry to interrupt right in the middle of your presentation here, what percent kind of is that we're down? I mean, I'm just
At one time,
20, 30, 40, I mean,
well, at one time we were down like 60%.
I remember you saying that a couple
Year,
months
but we had 2 months where we were up over what we had budgeted. I mean, we were closer to what we had budgeted, but now April went down again. So I'm concerned about what our sales tax revenue is gonna look like for the summer, because that's usually the big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that is really gonna throw us.
Probably a little bit of that tequila down there on,
Yeah.
That's the restaurant that might make us down a little bit.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You know,
But compared to the year before, it's not, because they never paid any of their taxes.
Yes, that's true too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that
But
was,
as far as what we budgeted, the sales tax is not good. The only thing that saved us is building permits. And interest and some of the other categories, or would have been down a whole lot more.
thank you, Luann, I just wanted to know.
James Goldhead had mentioned last week, the road district, that the county was also down significantly.
Okay.
And sales tax in particular, yeah. But they're hoping that it was just February and the weather was ugly, so,
No, I
yeah.
kind of a bad news, but I just really think that it's gonna be hard.
Rumor has it there's another Mexican restaurant opening back up in Sergio's.
I have no idea.
No, I heard that a long time ago, but I haven't heard anymore. Maybe not.
What's that?
You've heard of it?
That's all
Yeah.
that's all I can say.
Sick.
Another Mexican food restaurant going in Sergio's.
I would like to see that, but I'm not in the gossip, so I don't know. Yeah.
When it opens, then we'll believe it.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you still continue on with our budget versus actual, our expenses are down in a lot of categories and all three funds. The biggest reduction is in the capital because we funded the pavilion early in the year and we're just now starting to get the bills. So eventually that's gonna balance out. And great progress this week, you know, with the concrete, I was amazed. So with the pavilion, just now starting to get bills in. We haven't done anything on the pedestrian trails or the playground or anything, so, that's making our expenditures look really good. So as a, net income between the, income and our expenses, we have a net income of 68,586, so it's not all doom and gloom.
We need to start there, that.
And just start there, just look at the bottom line there. Yeah, let's see, but on the next page, you're not gonna want to. If you look, the next one that we're looking at is the statement of financial income and expense. Just as a reminder, that's one that compares last year's numbers to this year's numbers. And all the categories, well, building permits are up and it's up, but sales tax revenue is down. In this particular case, we're down like $9,000, $9,354. Again, that's going to show up more next month because that's gonna show that we're down like 15,000 to 16,000 with this month, because we were 4,000 down in the general fund and 2,000, around 2,000 down in the capital fund. As far as the expenses in this particular case compared last year to this year, gardens are up a little bit, and I think some of that was because of our snow removal, because that's thrown in with that. GIS did not get billed in December like it was supposed to, so it carried over to this year. Insurance is up a little bit, outside services is up because we switched to our website, which is gonna save us money in the long run and give us a lot more convenience having Danielle access to that. We didn't publish a Village Voice last year and we did this year, so that's another $1,400. And then the pavilion also started this year, which compared to last year, there was no pavilion, no thought of pavilion, at this time of the year. So that's why our expenses are up, and this leaves us with a net income down of like $20,640. But we've got to remember that we have a lot of money carrying over from previous years. So financially, our checkbooks in real good shape, okay? It's just that we are, spending something that we think that, the village will work well for the village. Any other questions?
William, thank you so much. Thank you all for taking care of some of this. You look overall, we're really done very well. We understand the sales tax is there and we've had that in the past. Okay, Rita.
Okay, you got quite a bit, I don't have anything on the water district. We're gonna have, the HRO board, I don't have anything on that. Emergency management, I have quite a bit actually, we've been kind of busy. Storm sirens, we got the storm sirens are hooked up to Osage Beach, got that done. They were tested, Bryce worked in we had that contract for the twice a year maintenance. So he kind of worked that maintenance schedule at the same time that he did the conversion and coding and everything, so it kind of helped on that. And we tested them, a silent test, and they all work. So now I will send a notice to the counties, Camden County Emergency Management Director, and let him know that we've switched from Camden County, so the sheriff's dispatchers know there's nothing wrong with them not getting through to us because we're Osage Beach. And so I'll let them know that, that's happening. We did get the invoice from Bryce on the cost of that, which the coding and the maintenance, it was total $835. Not sure Danielle probably took care of that already. Also, so the next thing on the storm sirens, I'm going to start looking into the public broadcasting capability to see about that. That's where we can talk over it if we have to do it for some reason with outside storms happening. We did, Danielle has gotten in the mail item that was from a business radio license. It's a renewal notice for the Village of Four Seasons has an FCC license. And that was, I believe it was for those handheld radios that we had before, and I mean, we still have, most of them are down in the basement. With one being up here. License expires March the 13th and 26th, so I'm gonna check with Bryce to see if we can use those radios. And if so, then we will definitely wanna, or this public broadcasting will definitely wanna probably keep the FCC license. So I'll be checking on that to find out what the scoop is on that. Emergency trailer, we're going to, Paul wants to take it to the POA's, the Four Seasons POA block party. Just so people can kind of see what we have, the village has, and then we're also gonna have some handouts, free handouts, and then also try to get people aware of that and see if they can. Some people would want to volunteer to kind of help out and help with like inventory downstairs or get to know kind of what they can help during a disaster. In the village. I did, about a month ago, I was, or last part of April, Paul and I and Bill were down the garage and had to go in the trailer. And in the garage was a chainsaw, one of the two of our chainsaws, one that has never been on the box, so it's okay, but the other one was, and nobody knew when it was last used, so I did take it to Porter's Ace, I think it is. Ace Hardware there by Deerbirds, and had them do a whole overlook and everything. Got it checked out, now it works and everything, and I found out when I brought it back, before I was asking Ike about it, and he's like, why are you taking it for? He goes, I've used it twice in the last month. I go, oh, well, you didn't tell me, I didn't know that, so that would, I said, glad, that's good, because that way it's being used, because chainsaws have to be used, so. But anyway, I'll just have to check with him before, we think we have some issues with it. And then, I did make the trailer keys, when we're trying to get a trailer, it took us a little while to find a key, because we didn't know where that, so I ended up making 3 extra keys and buying the keychains. And so there's 2 keys here in the office, and then Paul will have one and I will have one. And they're a nice green keychain, so that's taken care of on that. So that takes care of emergency management. And the road district on their deal, their meeting, they actually, some traffic lights at Death Bed were, got new ones because they were having those kind of issues, so they did, Kevin did replace some of those. And they said their park funds they received, and they were a lot higher than they expected, and also their fuel tax was about 200 more than they had budgeted for, so they were happy with on that. And there's continuing on striping, the parkway, they're done striping, side roads are still striping. Entrances, and you guys probably know this, but you guys who get around out there in the world, that Black Hawk stage was wanting to, I think they're going to move their entrance outside of that curve But like Kevin says, they're gonna have to be buying some property, and that's probably gonna be an arm and a leg, or probably very hard to do, but that's something that's out there. And then, they're actually, did their salt, they're looking at getting, they got the approval to go with, to the salt providers, you know, getting the okay from the board to go with them again. And then, Daryl told you about James Gohan on that deal. It's Sheriff Edgar giving his report, so that was it from the road district, at their meeting. Everything's moving along for it, was a bunch of good now.
Any question for Anita? Just remind me, we have some guessing that if I want to attend a road district meeting, what are those meetings?
They are the second Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning. On Thursday.
So it's tomorrow morning meeting.
That's the third Thursday this month, so they'll be, yeah,
Oh, that's
this month
right.
is kind of thrown off.
Sorry.
The water company's next. tomorrow.
Okay, thanks for the. Okay, so unfinished business, we're gonna kind of go through here. Pavilion update. I think most of you know that we are building a new pavilion, open to basically we are waiting to come in. Our next phase, the concrete's in, our next phase is actually put the bid out for the building. This is kind of what it's gonna look like. Well, okay, so it will be it's not gonna have the rock under here, just pillars all the way down, but that's kind of what we're gonna be, asking for.
Oh, it's just gonna have the post on we then.
It has a green leaf, the gel. Okay.
Did you say green? I think we should do blue, because it was its favorite.
Oh,
But even the roof, I mean, it's done very nice, and we've done everything so far. So
Yes.
I think that would be awesome. I also did a great job in running the drains out of the concrete, so we're not putting water out of the pavilion. The electrical's already been roughed in, so we have to keep the pipe sticking out of the concrete as well as meters been set, so. The next thing, like I said, is get the bid out and we'll move on for that. Anything you want to add?
We're hoping to have the bid put together and then the paper by next week, so Friday probably. Because we have an audit next week also, that, you know, I got to balance it. I'm hoping to have it in next Friday's paper.
Okay, any questions on the pavilion? Handrails on truck pedestrian trail.
I don't believe there's an update on that.
I said at the last meeting, he was having a hard time finding people that would do the installation, because they're kind of.
I think he's gone to another person or looking at it.
Maybe after Memorial Day, it might settle down, so this is the final week.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
nuts on trying to get done, and that's not a big priority for worker bees.
Trillium Park update, we did a bid and it's over our limit, so we're trying to get creative on that, looking to see what we can do. More likely we'll be putting out a bid for all that work. There's several removal of the boat, the ship, and dig it out, put the stuff back.
Curbs, yeah.
and well, on the bid, it's over our limit, but what was that, looking at the removing the ship, and was it what, removing the mulch and
They have to dig down into the ground to put the subsurface in.
And they have to put the,
okay.
the concrete.
Well, that's why they have to turn the border
Oh,
around.
okay. But I was still planning on doing the soft thing, or we thinking about having somebody do the soft?
He sure can't do it by himself, I mean, there's some.
Yeah.
This doesn't include installing the soft stuff.
This is just a
the
preparing
press,
of it.
the removal of
Because
press.
the soft ground comes under the ARPA project.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, removal
oh, gotcha,
of
okay.
comes under the capital.
Okay, that's that for district trail, practically, I will continue on that. For the asphalt on the Cherokee Cornet branch, we still, you guys got anything on that?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I think Dave was gonna really look like, we were gonna get us an idea who might be able to do the.
That's fine, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I made that note just
Okay.
a second ago also.
Okay, on the new business. So for gifts for some folks, new in the room, we are converting our basketball court out back here to be a multi-use basketball court and pickleball court. And we sent out bids to resurface the concrete and stripe. And I believe you got 3 bids, so we're gonna open those tonight. I don't think any of the bid submitters have anything.
The Gerald Perry tennis court there on Springfield. 12,200.
So they do courts around the area, they do Cedar Crest courts. That's all they do by the way, it's resurfacing court.
10 Truett. This one's a little different. Yes, his total at 7,594, but then you've got notes over here too. So you'll have to look a little closer at it.
These are all regulation, I assume.
Yes. They should be, that's what was in the request, so. Willow Ridge asphalt. And their proposed total is 17,340.
That's something that we wanna have. I think they kind of look at, make sure that they.
Yeah.
Before we make a decision.
That Willow Ridge is, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, I'll sure get with Mike. Willow Ridge, I think that is also,
That's asphalt.
that's the asphalt, that's our asphalt.
Oh, that's right.
They're out at Kennington, Garrett Gibson.
So maybe there's a. Maybe. They can write down.
Tim, the one there, just for information, he is doing the court over off of Regency Cove where they converted the pool.
Mhm.
So the PO is using him. He just likes for everybody to pay for material and he's only gonna, pay up for labor. So he's not gonna furnish material. But he was supposed to have gotten a price for material and then adding his labor in on that.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Mhm.
that's what that is. Okay. We got 3 okay.
Yes, I will get, I'll get with Ike because I assume we want to try to expedite this pretty quickly, true?
Let's get up and get on their schedule.
Okay.
What's that? What's that amount on there?
This one right here, almost 6,600,
Okay.
That's for materials.
yes,
That's added to the 7.
that's, yeah. And then that's what Daniel was saying, it's 2,400 in the labor department, so. Yeah, so
Okay,
it's kind of,
we shall move on.
okay,
No more questions about that.
thank you, Daniel.
Yep, you got.
Yes, Danielle put that whole bid packet together.
Yes.
And-
It's getting easier, with each one with you.
Okay, we have a garden bid.
Yes. So, I was interested in trying to get our gardens looking better. And I was under the impression that Nelson's was gonna do the annual a couple times during the year, so they look better. The annuals. Well, then we had perennials that are out there, and some of them are, the shrubberies looking kind of sad, and some of the perennials are looking kind of bad. And, we pay, the village pays good money to plant some of these perennials and shrubbery, and then we kind of wasting money if we're not trying to keep them, healthy. So I went out and, checked, with the Trusted Home Services, Luann's daughter, has a business and takes care of all the shrubbery over there in the States. And so she provided this, bid because she and I met, Christina met, and we went around to all the gardens, pointing out stuff to see, what it'd take and, what she'd be working with. So she came up with this, bid on it. Usually they do 4 times a year. And because we're already kind of behind, she'd do 3 times, it only be 3 times. It's a granulated fertilizer. And she would do then for the annuals, which includes daffodils, the bulbs, and then the shrubbery. And she would do that, so there's a pricing, I just did a summary down at the bottom, so you can see what the price is. It's per application for the fertilizer and labor, it's $730. And then if it was 4 applications, it'd be 2,920, but since it's only gonna be 3, it'd be 2,190 for this year. I never priced for people fertilizing, but it's like, holy moly. You know, I was kind of surprised how much it costs, but like she said, the fertilizer costs, keeps going up, and then the labor takes, just to go around, and she didn't realize we had that many gardens. So she was really surprised. I did go out and call some of the other landscaping people to see if they had some kind of fertilizing program that was just for fertilizing perennials. Most of the ones that had fertilizing program were for lawns. For lawns only, they didn't do it. Some said no, they only fertilize when they're planted, and that's it. So we're kind of limited. I did reach out to, I went to the Master Gardeners little event they had on 42 the first week of, I guess it was May, and weekend, and at their meeting, the lady asked any Master Gardeners if anybody's interested in maybe kind of helping at the village, putting their hours in. She responded to me, she hadn't heard back from anybody. So we're really limited on that service. And I can kind of see why, because that's usually something that somebody's just not gonna do that. But I feel to try to get our gardens to look nicer, and keep, and our investments in them looking good, I think we, should go with maybe, this bid, since it's the only one we really got, and it's kind of, for me, like I said, I thought, oh my God, I did talk to Christina again and say, okay, it's, let me make sure there's no way we can cut it, but yeah.
You got any questions? If not, we can make a motion and move on.
I did not have any questions. I would make a motion that we do hire Christina, yes, Trusted Home Services. I mean, we got a large investment in all of these areas, and we need to stay with it. And if, it's the only bid we had, so.
So I just show you, I got my yard fertilized.
Yeah.
It's $400 for my yard.
Or you fertilize your garden. Oh,
My yard.
oh, you're.
Okay, so we have a motion in a second. Rita or Ron, you want a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And we are trying to, with Nelson, I think we put in a couple of perennials this year too. We're trying to go more perennial, so we don't have the cost of the annual.
Well, this is awesome work. Thank you for spending time on it. Obviously, you were asking a lot of questions and got a lot of answers. That's fine. So you got us
And
there.
I tried to get it covered all.
You got us there. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now we're on to the local council of government. As you know, every year we've been renewing this membership. Thing that has happened recently is we anticipate at least get results from the economic development in the 3 county areas. In there, it also recognized the village as being the 5th best place to retire in the area. We do have relationships with a lot of the mayors, a lot of the other commissioners and different counties. They're very fond of us. As you know, we have a great relationship with the county commissioners. And we're there as part of a group to support this organization. They're known also to place grants. Right now, there's not anything there that's really entertaining for us to look at. But what's on the table now is a invoice for $1,048.52, which is an annual membership to the local council governments. Any questions, thoughts?
Well, they were able to give us the ARPA services that we needed, that if we weren't a member, we would have probably never even known about, so. Yeah, that has worked out really well.
I guess they're also kind of promoting the village on some things about the fifth. Oh, best place to retire, so they're kind of a positive thing,
We've been a member for how many years?
Many years.
Yeah.
Sorry. So if everybody's okay, there's no other questions, if someone wants to make a motion for the 1,048.52.
I'll make the motion that, we continue on with the relationship we have.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. We have some special guests here tonight. I had an opportunity to just introduce and visit with them earlier tonight. So we're very excited to have the group in that's interested in possible convenience store. I'm not gonna say much more. I'm gonna see if you guys would like to introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about that. We do have this picture here of a drawing, so I know the trustees have, well, I guess I can say some more. Trustees have been engaged in this as well as I, in working and trying to answer questions and try to make some suggestions about what's best for you guys. And we really do want, so we want it to be what's best for you. Obviously, we have some vested interest in sales act with you here tonight, but we like to see people coming in and make our community better. So with that, if you'd like to introduce yourself or say anything.
My name is Nicole Horskamp. My husband, Vic, he's actually the builder.
Okay.
So he builds our stores. My brother Brent and his wife Tia, Lisa. So we're all from Washington. We've grown up in the convenience store industry. And, you know, when I look around the lake, I like to think maybe our stores like to, you know, elevate things a little bit more than what some people would think is just a gas station that sells cigarettes. Like I said, a little bit different experience, you know, families, kids. And then, right, you know, we're even talking about now drive-throughs, more of a beverage coffee program. Food options, especially with the lake and delis. So we're in our due diligence periods, we have that corner off, which I thought it was Vintage Drive, but it's now Hagen's Drive, I found out tonight. Under contract, and so we're just kind of doing our due diligence to see what, you know, does this make sense, does it work? If entrances that make sense to get quotes in or whatever the traffic, to make it move, we want to be nice, you know.
Can you talk a bit about the size of the store, kind of, you know, what the door,
The size. We were working with a company out of Texas now that has designed 3,000 convenience stores all day. We went to visit there yesterday. It'll be at least 6,000 square feet, because everything we want to do is hard to get anything less than that. I think pumps, the amount of pumps, we're thinking 8 pumps will fit on that lot. Okay, because I think what needs to happen is like, obviously, we would have to build it for the time of the year. You know, most of our sort of all have, you know, between 6 and 12 pumps, so which 8 pumps go 16 fueling stations. Trying to figure out what exactly that all looks like, and I think that plan kind of, another one of our stores will be kind of up under, see what like where the entrances would need to be, without doing a whole lot of detail on the building. We're working on that now, so we're actually building one in New Haven, Missouri, and we're kind of trying to think, well, this would work here, we're trying to make them somewhere. Usually do large intersection, beer caves, which kind of fits the lake.
What's it branded as? Like,
So we're Auto Express, is the
Okay.
name of our stores.
Okay.
We, as far as the brand of fuel, we're typically BP Amoco, which
yeah,
is not here today,
right.
but they're working on it. We came from our family business, we have 7 stores that I built and grew. We have now gone out of our own, so we bought one, we're building one in New Haven, and we're just kind of, oh, I'm friends with Curtis, so he built the Havens, and he's like,
Okay,
was
okay.
kind of going, hey.
This is from Washington.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
and then Sean both are, yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of how led us up here to kind of look at it.
I know, I consider Curtis and China been awesome to work with. Very good. He's down to our people. I don't have much with them, it's like. You know, just talking to each other and having a conversation. We're sorry to hear about himself.
Yeah,
We wanted to do better. That was very important to us when he was building and still is. So I know we've got the other property that we're meeting with those developers as well.
yeah,
Which is the other, that has a bush property with that. And again, the excitement about that is, I worked with them to, the new buyers, the proposed, buyers to designate commercial property. Interesting, so conversations going on, so we're excited, we think, I mean, this place is. Well, you live here, Nancy, and we've got a lot of, all these residents here, I think over the past 6 years, 8 years I've been here, you go to HH, it's just busy all the time. A lot of cars going up and down, and we talking a little bit earlier about, we got kind of an economic development conversation going on. There. I'll get on that. Maybe I'll find you in there. Another lady that's interested in helping us, and so we're just kind of starting to kick off some conversations there. And you know the people here, now we're looking at possibly trying to get some other services here. So people don't have to go off the bend, and we think it's a pretty awesome place. Any other comments you'd like to share, or?
What's your store frontage, your store look like a facade? How do you build those? I mean, what?
so because we're actually just doing a new look now for these new stores, and so we're kind of in that process of doing that. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's one of my big
Mhm.
things for our village is having it nicely presented.
Yeah.
I always refer to like Sedona or Sanibel, how they have those restrictions, but they make things that, look like, at least they kind of fit in that area and they're not much living, so that's one we can use out.
Well, Mike's a great resource to leverage the community in any way, so I'm sure.
Unfortunately, I guess my husband, my face is probably a little too nice, but. I mean, this is our, I think some people are in the industry and they just put out stores and they're looking for numbers.
Right.
I mean, we're a little more.
Personal.
And we like, it's what we do and we're not gonna have our store chain, but we know in order to compete, we have to have more stores, but we still are very hands-on people, so.
Well, it's nice to know you're just right on the money.
Yeah,
It'll be probably good competition for our other, gas station personnel out there, it would be welcome.
looking at their side, I think it's probably hard for them really to, the South of their pumps is not good,
Oh, yeah.
they just can't, and then there's not parking, it's just. It's a very difficult,
30 years ago.
yeah.
Used to call bank junk. Everybody had to pay cash.
Oh.
Right. Yes. Yes. Low community store, from years back, but.
And I'm sure you could ask her, I mean, I've worked with hers for a long time. They will, how work we do, so.
And you said New Haven's, was there a reason why you doing it?
We're building one there, we're in the process of designing that one right now, but we're thinking it would. You have to look at every side.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
everything's
no,
different, yeah.
but they're very similar, I mean, it's about 3,000 square feet or 3,000 people.
Yeah.
So when I look at the village, it's kind of like that, right? That's like the people that maybe, what is the population here, is it like?
It's under 3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for-
Yeah, so that's the difference, where I mean, it's just a little more, I think we do good in towns like that, where we,
Just leave on a Sunday morning, about 10 o'clock.
10 to 1, I think.
And you hit a parking lot.
Yeah.
Let's see
So
all-
that would be a good pullover spot for people to get gas and
Yeah,
something
coffee,
to
yeah.
get snacks for.
Yeah.
I will have to say though,
I mean,
since
working
we have
for
approved over the
Germany.
years with Dutton, that first road, the intersection with Bank, over the years, they did put the road district, our road district did put a timing light up there, kind of automatic, so it kind of, the traffic flows a lot smoother, it's still kind of slow, but it goes, if there's no cars coming from the left, but it's just say, so that's what has helped a lot.
Yeah.
They have the traffic counts at that light
Oh,
up there, like on a holiday weekend, what is it, like 30,000 vehicles or some
You might
crazy
remember
amount.
what it is, 'cause I think you
I
guys.
I didn't get any of last year's numbers, I was gone for that full year, so.
Oh, that's right.
But it
it's
was
amazing
a
how many
lot.
thousands.
Yeah,
Anything you want to add to this or not?
one question or?
Your proposal for separate interest secrets on the expressway is gonna be a big turn. Dollar General was turned down because they saw that as separate interest on the expressway. So.
I think they and I have worked with the road district and Kevin specifically about that. He was in here talking to Ike about it one day, looking at the plans and stuff. So he's part of the conversation, so.
Definitely been discussed, but I don't think anything formal's been approved for sure, so.
Is this the April proposal, is that different from an initial proposal that you had? This was dated April 2025.
You know, and that's pretty primitive, and preliminary for sure.
There's kind of a confluence up there, we've got a 5 ingress egress within a 300 square or 300 linear feet of roadway there, so. One to the golf shop, one to the Havens, one for POA, one to the lodge, a lot of really close by, so. Maybe you can work it out with the road district. Ingress egress there.
Yeah, I suggested that I want to go to the meeting, but I think there's some updated information on that's probably going to share with you guys based on the meetings today.
And the road district, I think, they try to do what they can do, you know, they can accommodate, you know, work where it doesn't create danger to anybody, they're pretty good to work with and discuss stuff, and so. If he can do it, and you know, it's for safety reasons, but for that reason, you know, I think they'll probably try to do that.
Any other questions from folks?
No, anybody, have you figured out who's gonna be the little Bucky person? You guys got a
Oh, well, I
The
was
mask
there,
off
got
and-
this so
He's my
far.
7-year-old. So.
There you go. Somebody could be there. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and give
Yeah.
details and be part of the community, so.
Hope it works for you.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm here to help.
competition. You
Okay, moving right along here, sign ordinance. Nita, do you wanna
No,
give about that?
yeah, so this is coming back up because we've got, our corner at Parkway and New Havens. Real estate person is slowly expanding again. And she also had, some balloons on, her signs, down there, I think over the weekend. And the, ordinance that says you can't have the balloons, I just feel that it's gonna start expanding and start getting a little tacky again, if we don't. Say, hey, wait a minute, you're going too far, as far as the easements. I did talk to Kevin regarding the roadway easements, special road districts. And right now, the property that's, frontage on the parkway falls under the road district's special, their road easements, you know, setbacks. When you turn into New Haven is still does not follow under the road district's care. They haven't transferred, or if they ever will.
Did you change the name of the street, right?
They ain't changed the name of the street. Oh, what did they change it?
It's called Vintage and now it's called.
Oh, yeah, in New Haven,
The sign
okay.
is up, but.
Okay, I was gonna say that.
Had to be a big-
Yeah.
So that brings a thing as far as, maybe clearing up our signage ordinance. Because right now our signage ordinance says that location of signs must be in the road right away. And that's a no, road district, no, Kevin says no, and he will remove signs that are in that right of way, which are good for him. However, when you turn into New Haven's Road, when that's becoming non-horseshoe band would fall under our domain. But it is the case, we don't want the signs to be in the road right away, so that sentence, needs to be changed. And that's what we were having a little question on how we wanted to, word that. It's on, number page 3, number 17. E,
Well, right now, we are not in compliance with the law
Right.
yes, and that, yes.
and with also a road district, which is like any other road district, like no doubt everybody
Hmm.
else. So we need to be able to write something that satisfies two issues, roads that are in the Horseshoe Bend Road District and roads that are not.
Correct.
Because Kevin's stuff won't apply to the ones that are not.
And that's part of the state law type of stuff.
So hopefully we can just come up with some easy words to say, you're in the road district, or in the Horseshoe Bend Road. Care, the signs are. Have to be out of the easement if you're in, then we need to figure out what we want to say for non-road district roads. So we could say, this is no closer to the pavement than 3 feet. No further off the pavement than 6 feet. To me, that would apply for non-Horseshoe Bend roads.
That's what I would think. Yeah. And then Horseshoe Bend Road District would, they, falls under them, it would just say, contact the Horseshoe, it falls under Horseshoe Bend Road District. Contact them,
Well, we could make this
easier.
2 items, add another one. One that says, no signs are allowed in Horseshoe Bend Road District roadway. Sure, then we could add the other one that says, roads outside of Horseshoe Bend Road District.
Follow
3
this.
feet, whatever.
Yes, I would think that would be okay, do you think that sounds okay?
That should
Okay.
cover
Instead of trying to put it in one big sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, put 2 items, have 2 items there, so have one that says, location of signs.
Say signs that. Well, I think this is this is weird how this is.
I know, it's kind of clear.
Yeah.
This is
It's a prohibited sign, so you could just say within the Horseshoe Bend Road District. Roadway.
Is it considered, is it considered right of way or easement? And does it include if you say right of way, are you including like utilities? Because a lot of times the utilities in the road district are different. Well, if they're in the same right of way,
There's some on the same 50 feet,
that's right, they from the
other
other
side,
side.
so you've got 30 feet, so
Okay.
that right of way is where most utilities.
I should say statute refers to right of way.
I think that's what I thought was right of way. And then that way you don't have to say what you've been right away, because it also would be the utility right away, correct?
242 state road, so that's fine.
Well, this is, I thought this is Horseshoe Bend property, I didn't thought this was Horseshoe Bend. Oh, okay,
State road.
oh,
County.
So how would we word that then? How would, what best way to keep it simple and say,
location of signs,
I would suggest you pick line else to speak of course you
Okay.
well,
This is.
it's not first time we're looking at Kevin.
I think you're terribly intelligent.
Kevin's been out for a little while, but he's gotta do something.
Yeah.
okay, so I'll work on that to try to get that
Okay.
changed.
Things we're talking about signs, one more thing, this, I know the electronic sign at the book shop down there, did we?
Yes.
I mean, can we make them either fix it or turn it off? I mean.
Well, that's what I'm gonna look at, the signage, the ordinance sign, and check that, because I wanna find something in our ordinance that says something about that, because.
You can't read it, I mean, it's.
Yeah,
You know, half the letters are out.
Next steps might be,
and I think,
let's say,
and I think there's something in here that kind of addresses something to that, I just haven't read it.
Yeah,
So I figured I'd do that, and then I thought I would just, as a courtesy thing,
yeah,
present it to those workers down there. Because when I
Right.
told them their weeds were too high last year, and their little
Yeah.
house thing, they didn't mow it. You know, it's
right,
The Protestant sign came up about 5 years ago, I would provide a variance because it's sign
Yeah,
Right.
well, I
But it's
mean, I don't have any problem with it if they fix it, but half the letters are out, you can't read anything that's up there.
Well, and one of the things on the ordinance says here. That, at the beginning part. It'll say something here about. Control visual clutter and encourage high professional standards in sign design and display. So to me, right now, it's not very good. Display,
Yeah, we should do something.
There's a lot of, you know, the bulbs are burned out or whatever, I don't know what's wrong with it.
Protect and enhance the visual environment. Well, that's not helping the visual environment.
Got two lines, sign up for grant that you provided a variance for POA, county by the Hayes, where. And then the bottoms, a sign, I was there, the bottoms. Electronic sign.
Which is a good point that you did bring up, though, that the fathers, was, grandfather, however you want to call it, either. So, but with the new proposal, possibly the new gas station and whatever, I mean, this is.
Well,
I don't know what they plan on doing, but with
Over time, it's
signage,
still-
exactly, they could have a whatever also.
Well, yeah,
So again, I don't know where we stand on them. I'm not trying to poo-poo their thing.
No.
I'm just sort of saying, as Todd said, that was kind of grandfathered in.
right,
The village, POAs thing, whatever else, that's kind of good neighbors, whatever. And now, something else is possibly coming up. So what's the next move?
well, my viewpoint of it is, okay, the fathers was grandfathered in, and that was way back before our time. So it's grandfathered in, and our Lavadas right now is just the visual thing. We're not saying the sign needs to be reduced or anything, we're just saying. Fix it or turn it off, yeah, fix it or, plus their paint's kind of off part of the roof too, that was
Yeah.
affected. But anybody new business, I think would need to follow whatever our designation is in our signage ordinance, as far as.
Is that addressed? Are the LED signs addressed?
Yes, I do believe
Are
in
they-
some of
I mean,
the
I'm-
LED.
I'm not trying to cover that ground tonight, but I mean,
Right, yeah.
it might be something that they
Yeah.
should. Be
Yeah,
aware of,
yeah.
or whatever, okay.
Yeah, I think.
So we're not talking about the presence of a sign or that it's. None of that, it's not working, it's been.
Yeah, it's just, there's like a couple of colored blocks,
Yeah,
lots of color in it, and it looks, it's
Yeah.
looking pretty bad now.
yeah, you can't really read what it's.
So turn say off or.
There's no letters on it at all, actually.
I don't,
Yeah.
is there, as trustees, can we tell them to turn the sign on or off?
Well, that's what I'm gonna check.
I
on the
mean,
sign.
what are we, sign police now? I mean,
But no, but Dave,
I-
I feel as a trustee, if we see something in our village community, in our community. That's kind of getting big distractful or taken away from the integrity of the community, we should be able to. Say if there's an ordinance that says, hey, addressing it, I think that's part of our jobs as trustees to say, hey. We want it, please. Fix this, and we can start out, we don't have to have Todd send a harsh letter, we can initially just start with a. Nice.
right, and I'm just saying, do we have that in our ordinance?
Well, I don't know, I have not looked, that's why I have to look, yes, I have to
You're
look,
gonna look.
I will look. Because there's actually some other things, and I wanted to review the whole sign ordinance. Because there's some other things in here that I think need to be kind of changed, because we say no A-frames. And portable roadside signs, well, in some cases, as we mentioned before. It's sometimes hard to put those stake type of stuff, those signs in the ground. So I'm thinking, maybe we say you can have A-frames, but they can only be 40 inches tall or however tall our limit is here.
Yeah, what's the deal behind selling really with that and what?
Yeah, and okay.
I think what Ron's asking is there something we can do with the.
Yeah, I just.
Yes. And then I'll read through this ordinance, and then I'll let everybody know, I'll send an email and let everybody know.
We're moving on to general discussion. Does anybody have anything?
Unfortunately, I do. So I have a question. We have the dog issue deal that I guess is in progress, on that, I don't know. If the sheriff has submitted a citation and we're moving forward on that. But my question is, we also have one that came up, I just saw Danielle sent an email about the Valencia. Person down there, this guy put down on Facebook about renting some space in his house. lower level or something. My question is. I always feel like the village, and not just now, in the past, I felt the same way on my visit. That the village has a hard time just sending a letter to a resident saying, hey, in the case of this Valencia Facebook thing, and there's actually. They have it, they found out on Facebook, this guy wants to do this. So the resident is concerned. So I don't see in a situation like this, that where the rest of the village can't send a letter to this homeowner. Saying we've been informed, and send a copy of this Facebook thing, saying, hey, we've been. Informed of this, so we just wanna let you guys know that there is this ordinance of no short-term rentals. And just quote, nothing less than 30 days, just an FYI, so the person knows. And then after that, that's all. I mean, we wouldn't be policing it because you can't police it. But at least we know, I feel the village will then know that that person has been made aware of it, that person knows in case he doesn't know, or now he'll be careful not to do maybe weekend, if he mentions something about weekend. If you want to come down on the weekends, at least he's aware of it. So then if it would turn into something where there's a lot of cars down there or whatever, we at least know that we did let him know and that person was. I mean, just a friendly FYI, I don't understand.
So with this thing here, this thing that came out, or whatever it is, and I just saw this.
Facebook
today,
thing.
Facebook, whatever else, this is, again, I'm not trying to be. Watching too much TV or something, but this is kind of a hearsay thing, isn't it? Isn't this?
Well, it's
I
on
mean,
Facebook, I mean.
But again, do we know that somebody's renting it? Is there
Okay.
is there a violation that we know that, I mean, I hate to send out something as the
But-
village.
I guess my question is why? We don't know if it's being rented now, but it's just letting this person know. If you're gonna rent it, and if he doesn't want to rent it for 30 days, make a lease for 30 days, hey, that's fine. I mean,
If he's R2,
when it's R1, who's an R1?
then you can't rent it all, correct?
No, you can't, it just can't be under 30.
Oh, 31, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
that's right, it's the R2 that can be less than 31, okay.
Yeah, but I guess my thing is if a resident comes and shows us this and shows us that here's a Facebook, here's a copy of the Facebook, the guy's name's on here, here's a copy. A resident is coming and letting us know. So why can't the village just say, hey. We were just made aware of this. And, if we're planning, I mean, I don't know how exactly we plan on doing this, just wanna let you know there's an ordinance. And can you, please follow it, and, I mean, he can rent it, I mean, and if he rents it. On weekend, we're not gonna know, cause we're not gonna police them, I mean, we're just letting that person know.
Well, let's let somebody weigh in on this. I know I think you're kind of saying, well, is this something we really want to police? Is it just hearsay? Are they doing it more than 30 days? Right now, I don't know if we have anything, but Todd, would you like to weigh in on this?
First, Daniel just handed you a memorandum that I
Go ahead.
made for today, so I had a hunch that this might come up, so, it probably reads better than I can speak, but I would be incredibly conservative to sending people letters as a municipality. Those are generally done by social clubs, EOAs, and HOAs. Shame on you, or perhaps shame on you, we've heard that this might happen. As a municipality, generally wait until it's complained by. Because you're quasi-criminal court, information, alleging someone's violated something else. Or something else, it's a good kid with criminal charge. So I would be very hesitant to send out a bunch of letters just based upon somebody's allegations. Getting back to the dog allegation, you've got two people that are not getting along. Don't even know whether that can help it. We don't want to choose sides on civil complaints and civil disputes. If I refer it to law enforcement's doing their investigation, if they come back with a probable cause complaint. After having spoken to the complainant, the neighbor, and any particular witnesses in the area, to come back with a probable cause statement. And I found information that's quasi criminal complaint, I'll see them in court, and we'll take care of it there. I just think to send letters is something I would think at all possible.
I think our people mentality, or how we just kind of want to have that communication, and I know what Randy's saying, it's like, well, you know, let's just be friendly and let them know, like, sometimes that friendly, for what you're saying. Doesn't really, it could come back on us, and we really don't have enough stuff for you to do anything about it.
We've got 2,250 residents, it's an intimate boutique, very close knit community. And I get that you want to be hands-on, I get that you want to be active, proactive. But I would just caution you, we live in a world today where 50% of us don't like the other 50%. So you send these people letters based on somebody's allegations.
Well, even though there's like a fake or something that they found on Facebook.
We know for a fact that that guy is always going after the other.
Well, and that's true, that's
And
true.
so. I mean,
That's true,
that
but
would
I'm
put us
putting
in
that-
the middle of it.
But I'm putting that feeling aside, I'm being neutral here, I'm putting that aside, I'm just basing like in this case. That this was a Facebook, an actual Facebook posting, so, you know, so I.
So we expect that to, we got a process in place for short-term complaints. Daniel's got the form, whoever the complaint is there should be referred to Daniel. They should fill out the form, they should be prepared to be a witness for me, any of that vital information, because I've got to have.
Right, yeah, I can. Yeah.
It's beyond reasonable doubt, I can't just.
Right, yeah, I totally understand.
So
And-
there's a process in place, the process arguably includes a letter perhaps, but, I would wait until you have a complaint, completed, and someone willing to say, this is my allegation, these are the facts, and the staff would then do their investigation. I would build your file before I would send letters.
Well, and I guess that's why I was thinking that an FYI file letter is just a friendly way of just making these people aware so they can stop it if they weren't aware of the short-term rentals. That's like, oh, I want to stop before it blew into a bigger.
It's a privilege, I think, that you, from that person.
Yeah, it could be another, yeah. In this case, it probably would be in this case.
Fired up.
Not in this situation.
Different world, so I would not send letters unless you're committed to the idea of the targeting with information.
Well, and the other comment you were making about is usually an association's place to send letters out, you know, as opposed to municipality. The only thing I see on that is sometimes the association, they're dealing with their rules. And the municipality is dealing with their ordinances, so it's kind of, you know, like an association doing something. Of course, we're so freaking unique down here, you know, because we kind of cover, you know,
I think we have to look at each one of these too, you know.
by individual type of,
Instead of grouping them all into, let's always send that letter.
yeah.
Maybe having, you know, talk about it, this probably not that.
Yeah, because, you know, I don't want to say that we right away dive into something like pull Todd in and have him do some major thing. It's like you said, it's an individual situation where maybe you just say, hey. Please don't, like me saying, finding out the signage issue and just going down to the.
That way, you know, advises on, take it to a quick thing, this is,
Yeah.
I would probably want to handle this or whatever, but. I think he's trying to protect us.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
And there can be different interpretations. When I read it,
Mhm.
I got the impression the guy wanted to let it out long term, even if the people are not gonna be here except on the weekend.
That's, yeah. I
That's
agree.
my impression of it, so you've got two different impressions.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that too, so that's right.
Okay, good conversation, and that's just.
Since the one time, this is the GIS, part.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you look at this, we're not gonna fix this. These people go to homes.
Right on top of each other.
So, Abe has a final thought on this. You want to hear what we talked about?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this has been an ongoing thing for years, I mean, years and years. It is. When the suspects first moved in for like 2 years, it was fine, but then all came over and they're on their property. Now, it's a huge deal. It sounds like our victim doesn't really want to call us. She isn't really working with animal control. She tried calling animal control back in March. She was supposed to send in photos and other things for animal control to go down there and deal with it. I've called her. I've given her both of my cell phone numbers, so she can call me at any point to try to report any of this. At this point, we have no victim, so we have no crime at this point. If she wants to keep doing her thing with the POA and all of that, there's nothing I can do about that, but if she won't call us, or I'm not doing anything.
And that's why you can tell anybody that I talk to, who maybe complain about short-term rentals or
Right.
noise, whatever, I always tell them. Call the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Take pictures, video, whatever, because we need paperwork for us to present to the attorney to go further, if it gets to that point.
The problem is the POA has been doing that, they've been telling everybody to call us, I mean, I heard
But
that
they
these
don't
dogs
do it.
have been. The same kid twice down there, one of them climbed a ladder and bit a guy, he never called.
Yeah, I mean.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it sounds like these dogs have basically terrorized the neighborhood for the
Yeah.
last 4 years or 5. And nobody lets us know, I mean, we didn't know about the dog bites, I had to find all that out from the POA.
Yeah.
So nobody said anything, so we got a bunch of,
So no price paid.
no, I'm
Exactly.
not messing with it unless she calls.
And I don't feel for the, well, victims, if they're not
Right.
doing their thing to
Right.
try to solve the problem.
Okay, well, I think.
Thanks for the update, cause I.
Yeah.
Advising someone through, he called me. Maybe that's six.
Well, just to take it one step further, let's say the dog issue, let's say you send them a letter.
Yeah,
Friendly letter,
yeah,
say your dogs are getting out, and then the complaint doesn't follow. through,
Right,
and I have a witness, that charge them with qualified criminal claim. And I'm gonna show up and basically have the witnesses, I'm gonna have.
Oh, yeah.
evidence, and law enforcement doesn't have a problem with cost savings, so, you know, it's a, and all you've done is really cause people to
Well,
become
it's-
upset, so.
This was a textbook one that we should be able to learn from and live from now on and have side effects.
It's just a matter of building your case, building.
Yeah, and that's what I was just saying about the-
Sure enough, then you refer to me and we.
yeah, and that's why I was just thinking maybe that, and then let it know, that people say, it depends on how much work it's taking, and knowing the background of these dog feed situations.
We've been dealing with it for years, this dog thing's new, I mean, well, new to us, apparently this has been going on for 2 years. But prior to that, we were dealing with other stuff, I mean, we dealt with the group.
Down that area, they just, yeah,
Yeah, it's been,
okay.
Okay, again, contact for guidance.
And just to be clear for the newcomers, really, this isn't really. Maybe every now and then I got a dog. Anyway, Tim, reports happy what's going on here. This is a little community, so we welcome you to come.
Like business, you like.
Yes.
You like dogs. All good.
But you gotta check things out when they don't happen, so they don't get it carried away.
Okay, now, any other general discussion about, you have anything else? Danielle, anything you'd like to add?
Our audit starts on Monday, we're all prepped for it and ready to go.
Fun stuff.
Sure,
You got one? Okay, do we have any comments from visitors? Anybody else signed up on the board? Okay, at this time, what we're gonna be doing is going into closed session. We will come back out and in the general session, so it's probably not a lot that's gonna happen after we come out of closed session and. If y'all want to stick around till whenever we come out, you're more than welcome, but that's kind of the process, so. We will ask our guests to leave and thank you so much for coming and look forward.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate
We're in. Thanks for coming, Dan.
You're trying to. Because that is not trash. And when you have a new.
But the only thing is, I saw probably the.
They actually flags.
Yep.
And you all you get, it's not gonna be people are.
And the wind socks.
Just like
See you later. We need to like drop out of this, so I can pause the recording.
Sorry.
Yes,
And then I'll pause. and-
Okay, I'll make a motion and go out of this session and go into a closed session.
I'll second that.
I'll second, all in favor?
Yeah.
All right, we're now getting ready to start. the closed session.
Thanks, Nancy.
So,
Now, are we gonna have Danielle hang around so she can?
Okay, for us to go back into open session, do I have a motion?
Yeah, make a motion to go back into open session.
I'll second that.
And the time is 7:53.
okay, we now have open session and we came out of close, and would you like to share what we agreed to in closed session?
We need to do that or?
We approved the employee benefit that was presented.
Okay, and I think that's where we're at, and now we're ready to close this meeting.
Oh,
I'll make
do
a
we have to
motion.
do a motion? Don't we have to do a motion to approve that?
We're ready to-
We need
No,
to-
no, I think we have to do it on an open session, not the. But you had to show it in the
I
open
don't
session.
know.
I think as long as you show it closed and state it in the open, we'll get it better. So we need a motion to adjourn,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I don't think we did all in favor to start the session. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, we even have it done. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Johnny. Now we gotta stop that again.
And she said, "Well, this is
Let's see if I can put this in.
Yeah.